Hockey town, going down to hockey town, whoa, whoa. Hockey town, take me down to hockey town, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection is on the air. We're on the air for the next half hour. I'm Kenny Gallagher along with Jerry Burrow, and we're going to talk Minnesota hockey from the pros, the amateurs, and everything in between. High school season is come and gone. Any final thoughts on the high school season? Any high school news?
Well, they had the grade 8, and I think it was section 1A and 1AA that won the grade 8, but someone told me that a lot of players weren't there because a lot of the best players went out to juniors already, and so. But still, it still gives the opportunity to some of the kids that they get a look from recruiters from the D3 and D1 colleges. So maybe a few of them look good, and I didn't have a chance to get down there because of the college tournaments, but that's always been a Ted Brill grade 8 was always one of the better things after the season, to get kids to get looks.
And then what is next then regarding high school hockey? Is there...
There is the high performance tournament out in Plymouth and Wayzata, where they have the best 16-year-olds, the best 17-year-olds, and the best U18s.
Now, is this in the state?
Yes. And then what happens on the U18s, they have teams coming in from like Michigan, they're best in New York and Massachusetts and that, Wisconsin and North Dakota. So it's a good tournament, and see the upcoming kids too, because there's a lot of then the 16s and 17s play each other. And then out of the Minnesota 16s and 17s, they get a all-star team that will go to New York in late summer. So that's everyone's out there on scouting to see these kids, because these are the Minnesota's best now at that age group.
Well, it is March Madness, and that time of the year where the colleges are playing their respective sports. We, of course, are fond of hockey, so we're going to keep it on hockey. And real quick, the Minnesota Gopher women, they won a national championship, Jer, and they had to beat a Wisconsin team to get into this tournament, and I really thought Wisconsin might be able to pull it off this season.
Right. Well, Mark Johnson does a heck of a job out there in Badgerland, and I'll tell you what, he might, who knows, he might be up for the men's coaching job because of Mike Eves. After 14 years, got the boot.
Mike Eves, head coach of the Wisconsin Badger men's hockey program, like Jerry said, was let go. I remember Eves, he was an All-Star.
Right. And his son's Patrick, he played some hockey in Bend.
Yeah.
Yeah. They both played hockey, so
big
hockey family.
I don't know what happened in Wisconsin with that program, but boy, they just fell fast and hard, and they stayed at the bottom for, 3 years it seems like now they've been at the bottom. But this is a team that was national champions just not that long ago.
Yeah, that was 2005-2006 season. They were, so 10 years ago. And back at that time, they were probably putting an average of 14,000 into that stadium, Cole Stadium.
The Cole Center?
Yeah, Cole Center. And now I just looked it up, 8849, and that's tickets sold probably,
What game was that?
This is for the whole season.
Oh, average. An average.
Yeah, so they've lost about 6,000 fans a game.
Jeez, that's a lot of revenue.
I mean, this
revenue.
This might be all tickets sold too, though. So maybe the fans aren't even that high.
Yeah.
Because I look at the Gopher games. I've been to many Gopher games, and they still say they're 9,800. But there's a lot of games. There's only 7,000 there, 6,500.
Well, the Wisconsin Badger men's hockey team is in search of a coach. Again, the Minnesota Gopher women's team beat Boston College 3-1 to win their 4th national title in 5 years. This past weekend, Minnesota jumped out early. The tournament's most outstanding player, Sarah Potomac, scored 13 seconds into the game, setting a new record for the championship's fastest goal. Amanda Kessel was back. She had suffered a concussion, and so she was out, but she was back in time to play in the championship game. And her quote was, "I can't believe it. I never would have imagined this. I'm just so grateful. I'm waiting to wake up. It's just unbelievable." Head coach Brad Frost of the Gophers, talking about the Boston College perfect season. He said, "We didn't talk about ending their perfect season. It was all about playing in a national championship and playing our best and trying to win. BC had an incredible year. Anytime you can get to the Frozen Four is a great job, let alone go 40 wins in a row. My goodness, Boston College 40-1.
Yeah, great season.
And the Minnesota Gophers spoiled the party, but hey, they got to celebrate another national championship for women's hockey. And then in Division III hockey, I believe it was Plattsburgh that won the championship over Wisconsin River Falls.
Okay. Yeah, River Falls had a pretty good team this year.
Yeah.
So, hey, we're going to have a guest on the phone today, the commissioner of the NCHC, the National Collegiate Hockey Conference.
Oh,
And
awesome.
we got 4 teams that are going to be still playing in the NCAA D1 tournament, so I'm going to try calling them right now.
Yeah, sure. Men's Division III hockey, Wisconsin Stevens Point versus Geneseo, and Massachusetts Boston versus St. Norbert. Those winners will advance to the championship game Saturday, March 26th in men's Division III hockey. These games are played at Herb Brooks Arena in Lake Placid, New York. So if Wisconsin Stevens Point wins their game and St. Norbert, you're going to have an all-Wisconsin Division III hockey championship this weekend. We'll see what happens.
Josh, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me? I'm in a
I can hear you.
store. I'm going to walk to a place where the
We can hear you real good.
quite bad. What's that?
We can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Okay, hey, we got the commissioner of the NCHC, the National Collegiate Hockey Conference, on the phone. And congratulations on a great tournament this weekend, Josh.
Thanks, Jerry. It was a lot of fun. Great fan support from all NCHC fans, but particularly the 4 participating schools. And felt like it was a great step forward in building the brand of the NCHC. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I was over at the Big Ten tournament a little bit too, and then I was talking to some people that are out in Grand Rapids, and by far you had the big attendance.
Yeah, our attendance was similar to what we had last year. We actually had more paid tickets this year, approximately 1,000, right around 1,000 more paid tickets for this year's event compared to last year. But the overall attendance, which includes obviously some complimentary tickets that are out there, the people that actually attended the event, was very similar to last year's tournament.
So how long is your contract now with the Target Center? Plus they're going to be doing some major work there, aren't they?
Yeah, they will unfold. Let me answer the first part. We have 2 years left on our agreement with Target Center. It was a 5-year agreement when it was initially signed, obviously 3 years ago. And so we have 2 years left there. And to answer the second part, yes, they will be doing some significant renovation work. It'll take place over the next 2 summers. The biggest impact that you'll see after this coming summer into next year's tournament will be all new technology in the venue, new premium seating, which means that the suites are going to get completely renovated, and then some other small things. And then the following summer, which would impact obviously the last year of our current agreement with Target Center, it'll be more structural in nature and kind of the transformational phase of the renovation that will change kind of the look and feel of Target Center. And Target Center will actually shut down approximately for 4 months or so during that particular summer. So that's summer 2017 while that renovation is occurring.
Yeah. Hey, the NCHC this year had a little different overtime rule where you play the first overtime 5-on-5, and if someone scores, the losing team doesn't get any points. Then you go a 3-on-3 and then a shootout. And I like that. My co-host, Kenny Kelliger here, he's not a big fan of that.
He's not. Well, it's getting some very, very positive reviews in the National Hockey League, best league in the world. So, I think a lot of times when we look at our game at developmental levels, whether it be college hockey or junior hockey, I think we should have some consideration of what's going on at the best league in the world. And at the end of the day, for us, and what we talk about the most, it comes down to the experience for the student athletes, and it comes down to the experience for the fan. And I know that we received some very positive feedback from our participating student athletes that have been part of 3-on-3s during the past year. But we've also received a lot of positive feedback from fans, more so than what we had gotten when we just had a shootout, concluding the 5-minute regular overtime session. So we feel good about where it is. We'll have a discussion in the off season here at our annual meeting in about a month or so about what that looks like moving forward. But we feel like it was a good success in the first year.
Josh Fenton, Commissioner of the NCHC, joins us. Josh, is there any talk, any discussion, any teams that have reached out perhaps? And I know maybe you're bound by not saying too much perhaps, anything specific, but any talk of expansion with the NCHC in the near future?
Yeah, we don't talk specifically about it. We talk generally about it. I think everybody's aware that Arizona State obviously started a Division I program. They competed for the first year at the Division I level this past season. And we'll be looking for a conference sometime in the near future. And so, there's a consideration there that we certainly had some discussion with them, general in nature, and as they tried to kind of get their program up and going this past year and figure some things out long term, that maybe that's a possibility. But I will tell you, it's more based and centered around, ultimately what's going to add the most value to the conference. So whether it's Arizona State or anybody else, our discussions and considerations of membership are really around that particular thought. We have 8 member institutions that we feel like contribute greatly to the success of the conference collectively right now. And so if there is consideration to expand and add teams in the future, we want to make sure that that's also moving our conference forward and that we add value to it. So, we have general discussions from time to time, but nothing too intense or specific.
This is 2 questions, Josh. What's your biggest concern right now with the NCHC, and what's your biggest concern with D1 hockey in general?
Well, let me start with the second one. My biggest concern with Division I hockey is, that we collectively work together to ensure that we're growing and developing the sport, in particular amongst the fans, into the future. We went through realignment a few years ago now, and we're 3 years into new conference structures, and we've heard a lot of disdain and concern from fans and media members that are certainly writing about the college hockey conference structure, particularly in the West. And so those of us that are leaders like myself have to pay attention to that, and we've got to be mindful of what those thoughts and feelings are out there on it. I don't necessarily have the silver bullet on the particular answer. However, ourselves, Big Ten, the WCHA, I think have a role to play in discussing where college hockey, more so in the West than the East, is going to go in the future with current conference structures, or if there's something different in the future with conference structures. Because I will say that I think college hockey has been successful and thrived for many decades off of unique geographical structures where Division I schools were playing Division III schools, obviously at the Division I level. And college hockey had developed obviously great fan bases in the West and in the East, and we want to ensure that those continue into the future. So we're going to be a part of a lot of discussions here going forward that we can certainly strengthen the game moving forward. From an NCHC standpoint, I don't want to tab it as a concern, because I don't think we think of it as that. I think we think of it as an opportunity to continue to build our brand, continue to engage our fans with new and different things throughout the course of the regular season, and ultimately what we're doing with the NCHC Pros and Face-Off, we want to continue that event. And I feel like we've gotten off to a pretty good start in 3 years here in developing what that event is all about, and where we can take that event in the future, because we want people to see that event as more than just hockey games taking place in a conference championship, but that it's an event weekend experience in and of itself, and that regardless of whether their favorite team is participating in the tournament
Well, I guess where we're at now, the state of the NCHC, if you will, you're in a good spot. You're in a good position, if you will. It's been very successful, arguably the best college hockey conference in the nation. And so you're going to want to just kind of stay in the driver's seat, keep going at cruise control, and let everything happen as it may be. But we're real excited because the Bulldogs, of course, are in the tournament. They'll play Providence Friday, March 25th, and they'll play the winner of Harvard and Boston College. But we also have North Dakota, St. Cloud State, and Denver. So good representation in the tournament from the NCHC, Josh.
Yeah, it was great. It's great to see those 4 teams obviously selected. The pairwise tell you who's getting in and who's not getting in. So it's pretty easy to determine who's going to get in kind of when those games conclude yesterday. But it was good to see 4 teams in, half the conference. I think that's a great representation. Hockey East had a great year as well. They had 6 teams in the tournament, or half 6 teams in the tournament. And, we're down a little bit from last year. We had 6 of 8, 75% of the conference in, which was pretty astounding. I'm not sure we were going to see that quite regularly, but 4 is a good number, and so we're happy with it. We're excited to see what the 4 teams can do and see if we can get a couple teams into that Frozen Four.
Great. Where are you going to be this weekend?
I'm actually going to Cincinnati on Thursday, so I'll see the regional Friday, Saturday. North Dakota's out there.
Okay.
Hoping for a North Dakota win on Friday, so we can see it playing the regional final on Saturday.
Yeah, they travel. They're probably the best traveling team by far.
Yeah, their fans are passionate, no question about it. And, we appreciate their support. But whether it's those fans or Bulldog fans or Husky fans in St. Cloud or even the University of Denver, this past week there was good representation of our passionate fan bases around the NCHC. So it's fun to see that, and we hope that they're enjoying NCHC hockey.
Josh Fenton, Commissioner of the NCHC, thank you so much. Great job on what you've done so far, and the accomplishments in this great division.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Josh. See you later.
Take care.
Well, there's no question that we're partial to the NCHC because the UMD Bulldogs are in that conference, and of course that's our team. But Josh Fenton, Commissioner, and things are going well. The state of the NCHC is very healthy, Jer.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, attendance-wise, they got 4 of the top 6 attendance. I mean, there are a lot of them are like North Dakota. They're over 100%. I mean, some of these teams are great. Penn State is doing good in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting over. They love their hockey back there. So,
yeah.
But they let the students free, so that helps a lot.
What do you mean?
They don't have to pay for their tickets.
Time out. If the alumni, the student body
I guess that's what I'm hearing.
at Penn State does not pay to attend these games
Certain amount of student tickets
that are free.
All the student tickets. I don't know if they give out 1,000, 1,500, whatever. Yeah,
So they have a cap.
they have to because they have to have regular
Yeah.
people too that come in there to watch the game. But
Huh.
they do. I mean, the guy gave all the money. I mean, that owns the Buffalo Sabres, and he's
Pegula, I believe is
Yeah.
his name.
and he donated the money for the new stadium, 100,000. He's doing everything he can. The program's going good.
Well, I did not know that. It's first I've heard of that. Well, again, thanks to Josh Fenton, Commissioner of the NCHC, for spending a little bit of time with us. And the Bulldog hockey team, I don't know, can they repeat 2011 and win this?
Oh, it's tough. They're going against last year's Frozen Four national champions, Providence, and they have a really good team. And again, but hey, the Bulldogs are playing good. Their goalie's hot. They got to stay out of the box, and they got to be healthy when they're out there.
Well, if the Bulldogs win that game, and if they win their second game, and if Yale wins their first 2 games, you'll have the Bulldogs playing the Bulldogs.
There you go. There's 3 Bulldog teams in the tournament. Ferris State.
Oh, yeah. And then
They're going-
you actually could have 2 Bulldog teams playing in the championship.
Oh, yeah.
And wouldn't that be something?
Hey, did you hear this weekend in these the WCHA tournament and the Big Ten tournament, 2 refs got major injuries. One in the WCHA, what game was it? I think it was Michigan Tech and Ferris State. But he comes out in the ice pregame, didn't have his helmet on. He put it on the side, I guess.
Sure.
And then this is before the game starts, and then all of a sudden he lost an edge, hit his head. He's in critical condition.
I heard that.
And then the other one was a ref over in the Big Ten tournament. He major shoulder injury.
During the game it
Yes.
happened?
Yeah, during the game. So it's not, you got to watch it.
Well, our thoughts are certainly with those two gentlemen that they can recover, but the one that hit his head and, like you said, was in, I believe, intensive care even.
Right.
We hope for the best for him, and we don't like to hear those things. And fortunately, they don't happen often. This is a rare instance.
Yeah, and there's another kid from Minnesota, high school. We just finished high school a couple years ago, and from my SAM team, he played his high school hockey in Totina Grace. He got a spinal injury, and he's paralyzed right now. And he played for a junior team out of Chicago, Chicago Cougars, and the Chicago Blackhawks and the Minnesota Wild are going to put a big benefit on for him to help him out. So it's pretty serious. It's good, yeah. So this next game with Chicago, they're both going together and they're putting stuff on the computer, auctions and donation sites and that to help out this kid.
Speaking of the Wild and the Blackhawks, the Wild beat the Blackhawks Sunday night for the fourth time this season in a shootout win. And I got to tell you, it's great, but when it comes to playoff time, we can't get over the hump with Chicago. And that's a little disturbing, but Charlie Coyle scored the only goal in the shootout to lift Minnesota to a 3-2 victory over the Blackhawks on Sunday night. And Devin Dubnyk was good enough to preserve the win.
He's been playing pretty good the last couple games there.
Yeah.
Plus, I noticed that we beat Chicago 4 times now in the regular season.
Yeah.
So we just don't want them in the playoffs, right?
I would almost say let's reverse that trend and lose to them all season if they can guarantee us
there you go.
beating them enough to beat them in the playoffs. But then again, even with these 4 wins, that's 8 points. The Wild might make the playoffs by 2 or 4. So how huge are these wins over Chicago in the regular season?
And right now we're 1 point behind with 9 games left. But the good thing is that we have a lot easier schedule than Colorado.
Well, let's hope so. The Wild will play games this week. Tuesday, they'll host Los Angeles. Thursday, Calgary comes to town. And then the Wild go to Colorado. It's a 2 o'clock game this Saturday, the 26th. And then they're back at XL to wrap up the end of the month of March. The 29th, they'll host Chicago. And Thursday, they'll host Ottawa. And then to round out the regular season in the month of April, at Detroit, at Winnipeg, and the final 2 games at home, San Jose and Calgary.
And Colorado, they're fighting Minnesota for the last playoff spot, it looks like. And they have Nashville a couple times. They got St. Louis a couple times. They got Dallas, Anaheim. So Washington, they got all the top teams, I mean.
Well, on paper, it looks good for the Wild, but
right.
They got to keep winning.
Right.
They have to keep winning. So the Minnesota Wild are hopefully going to make the playoffs this season. We do know that the UNB Bulldogs have, and we know that they're going to be playing Providence. And like Jerry said, last year's champions of Division I hockey, they got a record of 27-6-4. The Bulldogs go in with a record of 18-15-5. So you look at you compare the records, and Providence certainly has an advantage.
Right, but hey, playing in the NCHC, that's a tough schedule. A lot of good teams in there. Omaha was a very good team the first half. They kind of went downhill the second half, but that was a very good team. And I tell you what, I think we have a good chance the way they're playing.
Last Thursday, March 17th, the Minnesota Wild traveled to New Jersey, and Superior, Wisconsin native Mike Sislow, 2 goals in the game. His first 2 goals in the NHL, he was named the number 2 star of the game, and I learned today that he is the first Superior native to score a goal in the NHL.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
So that, gotta love it. What was the last thing I was gonna?
Well, we've come down to the final moments here, the Minnesota Hockey Connection, and I know, Jerry, that you're going to see, well, I don't know how much hockey we see this weekend. Everything's out of town.
No, I'll be down in the XL Center where they have the West regions where St. Cloud State will be playing. And who do they have?
They got
Fair State, yeah.
And then
One of the
Boston
Bulldogs.
University and Denver.
Right, Denver, yeah.
All right.
So I'll be down there for that. And then the following week I'll be taking off for the Frozen Four. So,
You know, I don't understand what is the deal with broadcasting these games. ESPNU. Watch ESPN, whatever
news.
that is.
One is on the news, I think I saw.
And
well, then maybe that was last weekend.
You're going to get the semifinal games and the championship game on ESPN2. Yet ESPN and ESPN2 will carry basketball all day long, Division I and women's. So I don't know if this has something to do.
Tampa's going to be 2 now?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I saw it was ESPN for the championship game, but
Well,
all of them are
usually it is. I don't know if that's a misprint or not, but let's see. Do we have something different here on this? Yeah, that doesn't specify in here, but we'll double check on that championship game.
Right.
But this says ESPN2.
Because usually the championship gets on ESPN.
It's sad. And then you got another issue with Charter Cable having this dedicated channel for St. Cloud and Minnesota State Mavericks. I've never seen a game on either of those channels.
You haven't?
Never.
I have.
Not me.
Well, another thing is that Charter puts on CBS now some of these games, and most people don't have that channel.
Yeah.
So you almost have to go to a sports bar or something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, pay $10.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the Minnesota Hockey Connection, you can find us online, minnesotahockeyconnection.com, and on our Facebook page, Minnesota Hockey Connection. Like us on Facebook. And Jerry, final thoughts?
Well, I hope the Bulldogs from UMD, not Ferris State, not Yale, have a good weekend.
Yeah.
And I think they're ready. I think their goalie has been playing real good, and I think they got a good chance.
Well, unfortunately, the Bulldogs are struggling on the power play, but they need to take advantage when they get the power play and reverse that trend. And they need to stay out of the penalty box and not give Providence an opportunity. Big. And Kaskasuo has to play at the top of his game. I've got confidence that they can do well. And we'll find out Friday, March 25th at 3:30. This is showing local times. So 3:30 this Friday, March 25th. And if you know where ESPN3 or Watch ESPN is at, well, then you're in luck.
Watch ESPN?
Yeah.
Okay.
We want to thank the staff at PACT-TV for producing this program, the staff at Public Access Television located in City Hall. And with that, I'm Kenny Gallagher and Jerry Burrow, and Jerry, we'll be back here next week to drop the puck.
Yes, we will. Good luck, Bulldogs.
We'll see you then.